What's going on, Baku crew? I hope everyone is doing great and ready for another Bakugan Pro deck list. BakuBrad96 here, and today I'm going to be going over my redone Mono Darkus deck for evolutions. So going ahead and getting right into the team, I am using Darkus Colossus. So it uses 2 regular shield core B power of 500 with 4 damage. And then if you if you land on a regular shield, you do get plus 500 B power and plus 5 damage. So that does give Colossus the potential to hit 1409 damage. Not as strong as Genesis Nihilus, but I do like the idea of 9 damage, and I did want to create a new deck for this week, so I'm using Colossus. Next up, I did decide to go ahead and use Platinum Blitzfox for the obvious reason. I mean, come on, 1000 base B power is just awesome, but double Flame Fist or double Red Fist core also gives me good options as far as my Darkus Nanogon. 2 damage also as well, not bad. So Platinum Blitzfox definitely had to be on the new team. And then lastly, I am using Ultra Supercilious because I could not use Darkus Smog when I have Darkus Smog. Double Green Fist core or regular fist, B power of 500 with 1 damage, and then on a fist you do get plus 900 B power. That's huge. In this specific build, that puts Supercilious at 16, or wait for it. I suck at math, wait. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, so you know the repercussions of that, you can't read and you can't do math either. But yeah, so 1500 B power, really good in this build and really strong. So 900 buff on Green Fist is really good. Not as strong as the Cornelius, that's funny, the Cornelius in evolutions, because it does get plus 1000 B power on a fist. But like I said before, with Colossus, I did want to switch things up and not use the same Nihiliuses over and over and over again. But now for the Nanogon, because apparently I can't talk today, I am using Nano Sledge on a regular and Flame Fist plus 300 B power, and then on double regular fist and a red fist plus 1800 B power, and you get to remove an opposing Bakugan's Baku Core, or steal it, my bad, that is the arrow. So you will be stealing that Baku Core, which is really strong. Not saying that it'll be easy to hit that second ability with Sledge, but the first one definitely will help. Just gives us a little more B power in the game. And then I am using Nano Crystalline, so on a regular shield you get to add a Baku Core, and then on a regular shield and regular fist you do get to steal a Baku Core. Very strong. I'm pretty sure everyone uses Darkus Crystalline. And then I'm using Nano Shadow or Darkus Shadow. So on a red fist, you get to remove an opposing active Baku Core or Bakugan's Baku Core. And then on a red fist and a shield, you get to do the same thing, but you also get plus 200 B power on top of that. So you're going to be removing whatever your opponent picks up and giving yourself a little boost, which is really nice. That does it for the Nanogon and the team, which just to show off everyone, here is of course the Platinum Blitzfox. Shout out to Nightcore Brawler, this is his mascot after all. The Kiriyami, Darkus Colossus, which this isn't the Platinum one, so you don't have the cool magenta body, that's metal. This is the core version. And then lastly, of course, it is Supercilious, which again, such an awesome design. Has the manual feet or hands, claws there on the wings. Just a really, really cool design. Probably one of my favorites that came out of Geogun Rising, aside from the channel mascot, which give this video a thumbs up if you respect the Lightning Vulptex. Channel mascot has been a huge face of the channel for a long time now. Eventually I hope to do more with the Elemental Finnica, but I'm not sure what yet. So the Baku Core I use for this team, plus 250 B power and plus 3 damage. 2 copies of these kind of help with B power and damage respectively. I didn't want to max out on either or. 2 regular fist plus 100 B power, Darkus and Ventus get plus 3 damage. Again, just helping out Sir Pilius and Blitzvox because they don't have a lot of damage themselves. And then for the shields, auto include obviously Darkus and Ventus get plus 400 B power. Maxing out on the B power my Bakugan can get, at least as far as the regular shields, because I just feel like that is stronger moving forward. I did used to only use the plus 300 because I was afraid, you know, if your opponent runs one of these, they land on your core, they'll get the boost. But you can't live in fear. You know, you have to get the most B power that your Bakugan can get to be the most competitive, and that's what I am aiming to do with these new decks this week. Have the most competitive decks possible in mono faction. And with that being said, it is time for the deck list. So starting things off with 1 copy of Baku Spring, 1 energy for plus Shadow Strike, and you get to draw a card. I want this at 3. I am definitely looking at getting 2 more copies. I don't know what in the deck that I would cut for the other 2, but yeah. This has to be at 3, but I only have 1 copy for now. 3 copies of Body Crusher, 1 energy for -4 damage, and you do get to scan. So the scan doesn't really matter in this deck, like, at all. But 1 energy for -4 damage on your opponent is just a good disruptive card. And yeah, one of my favorite. 1 copy of Chaotic Darkness. I did want to kind of make this deck a discard deck, but unfortunately I don't have any more copies of this, nor do I have any Mind Slip. Those are cards I am definitely looking at trying to get. So 1 energy, and then you choose a player to discard a card. Pretty basic, really simple, but just more disruption. 1 copy of Darkest Slicer, 1 energy for plus 200 B power, and then if that Bakugan is holding a regular fist, plus 3 damage. Just a little boost card, because my ratios are out of whack. I would take that out and add in more Chaotic Darkness or Baku Spring. So then I have 2 copies of Thunderbolt, 1 energy for plus 3 damage. 2 copies of Darkest Bark, which I will be having a 3rd copy very soon. 2 energy for plus 500 B power, and I will run the 3rd copy. So I will take out something, but not sure what yet. 2 copies of Darkest Destroyers, the only gear I run in this build. 2 energy because it gives you plus Shadow Strike, and then you get 200 B power and 1 damage. More disruption with Darkest Petrify, so 2 energy for -5 damage. I did max out this card at 3 because this deck is really scared of opponent team attacks and damage. It doesn't have a lot of flips that stop those, so kind of have to get as much damage off the opponent as possible. 1 copy of Kieran, 2 energy for a hero, and when you play a flip card, you may draw a card. So this deck does play flips, but they all discard from your opponent. Kind of gives you some card draw off of that. And then everyone knows by now that I have to have my 2 copies of Lightning whenever I run Darkus. It doesn't matter. Always have the little doggo. 2 energy, and when you open a Bakugan, it gets plus 3 damage. So very nice. I did consider running this when I mix factions with Pyrus and Chaos for a hero deck that just spams out as many heroes as possible. 1 copy of Might of Night, so 2 energy for plus Shadow Strike, and then Sacrifice. You may discard a card for plus 5 damage instead. Kind of a very situational card, but I do like Shadow Strike. Having your B power and damage not be able to be reduced is very good. So 3 copies of Throw Anything, 2 energy for plus 400 B power, and then again plus Shadow Strike. So kind of a reoccurring sub-theme of this build is definitely Shadow Strike. 2 copies of Cycling Madness, 3 energy, you draw a card and your opponent discards a card, and then this returns to the bottom of the deck. So potentially these 2 copies could be used over and over and over again to slowly just keep your opponent's hand to nothing. Now, discard strategies definitely do not work against Fury decks, because you would just be helping them along, and that, well, I guess that is the main weakness of this build, really. 1 copy of Darkus Strike, 3 energy, 4+, 6 damage, and then if it's Darkus, choose a player to discard a card. Another card in this deck that I do want to max out copies on, I actually want 2 more, and the cards I would take out are these 2 copies of Sonic Abyss. So it's not a bad card, but it's not great, and a Darkus Strike is definitely better. So for 3 energy, you get +4 damage, and you do get to draw a card. I figured drawing the card might be helpful, but 3 for +4, definitely not great. I'd rather have just the Darkus Strikes. Then 3 copies of Monstrous Surge, 4 energy, 4+, 800, and then Sync. You may reveal a card in your hand that costs 2 energy for +4 damage. So I was using Raging Claw, but I did take it out for Monstrous Surge because I noticed I did have a lot of cards that cost 2 energy, and 800 and 4 damage is better than 4 energy for just 800 B power. So, really nice there. Good card for the deck. Now the last card before I get into the flips is Shadow Dogs. So, 4 energy, you must reroll your Bakugan. If you open on the reroll, that Bakugan gets +400 B power, which isn't all that great, but keep in mind the theme of this deck because you not only get the +400 B power, but you do get Victor. An opponent must discard 2 cards. So very nice as far as the discard strategy goes. And it is a reroll card for Darkus, which I don't have a lot of. Definitely could use more. Wrapping things up with flip cards. Now obviously this deck has a lot more because of the Kieran Hero card. So I have 1 copy of Sea Serenity, 1 energy to block Chaos or Ventus. 1 copy of Crescent Darkus Nullifier, 1 energy to block a Aquas or Pyrus. 2 copies of Darkus Blitz, which my camera will not zoom. There we go. 2 energy. Your opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose an action card. They must discard it. So yeah, very powerful. You get to peek into your opponent's hand and discard an action card from it for only 2 energy. And then 2 copies of Punish, so 2 energy, choose a player to discard a card. Not as strong as Darkus Blitz because, you don't get to reveal your opponent's hand, but this isn't limited to just action cards, which is why I run 2 and 2. 1 copy of Black Hole, 3 energy to end the turn. Nothing else can happen this turn. You start the next turn, cards cannot be played. Remaining damage vanishes, and energy cards do not recharge. So depending on what your opponent has done that turn, this could really backfire and put you in a bad spot, which is why I no longer run 2. I really only run just the 1 copy. And then the last card of this deck profile is Shadow Breath. So 4 energy to take control of a hero, which could potentially do something, or it's just a dead card that you turn into energy anyway. But that does it for this deck profile. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in once again. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Bakugan content. I have a lot more profiles coming up, as well as my monthly giveaways, customs, unboxings, you name it. This channel is all things Bakugan, and I'm still working hard to get to that dream goal of 1,000 subscribers. Definitely can't do it without your help. So until next time, stay safe, drum up, and Bakugan Brawl!